morning. Esteemed members on the dais, Professor
Dr. Durga Prasad Padi, Director Administration, Centurion University, Deans, colleagues, and my dear friends. It's a pleasure to be with all of you in MANZAR 2.0. Thanks to Dr. Susant Patnaik, convener of the event, and MANZAR team for
organizing such a wonderful event, for creating a platform for togetherness, creativity, innovation, and excellence. Why MANZAR 2.0? Friends, time is changing, technology is changing, industry demands are changing, organizational demands are changing, educational paradigms are changing, management styles are changing, and student interests are also changing. So what do we do? How do we cope with it? Friends, again, I'll tell you, it's all about management. Hard, essential skills of management, and it begins with self-management. So our student organizers, the organizing team has meticulously designed events and activities which will put you through a process where you will improve your communication skills, problem-solving skills, decision-making abilities, collaboration skills, creativity, and critical thinking. So I would say MANZAR 2.0 is not only an event, it is a platform for transformation. It is not about competitions, winning prizes. It is about bringing transformation. And I believe at Centurion, we believe in bringing transformation through learning pedagogy, like learning by doing, learning from the world, learning from the field, learning from the production, learning through reflection, learning from simulation, learning from in the industries, learning from the industry tools. And it's a great opportunity to learn, to co-learn, to take up the challenges of the world, and please do share your learning experiences. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. We are grateful for your guidance and uplifting address. Now, I would request Professor D.N. Rao, Vice President, Centurion University of Technology and Management, to share his valuable insights with us and show us the way forward.
Good morning. Good morning to you all. And my friend, we call him Bodu, so Alaganandal Balraman takes some effort for me to say. Right, okay. So, like people call me Dan Rao in my batch. Okay. And Babu Shankar sir is sitting there quietly. He's called Babs. Okay. So I'm happy that Bodu has agreed today to be the chief guest and share his, address with you. A man with varied experience from corporate sector, because from IIM Calcutta, I never went to any company. Okay, so I don't know what corporate sector is and how it works. So, and both Babu and Bodu have worked all their life in most of the life in corporate sector, so they actually know what it is to. Yesterday I was asking how are things in corporate sector. Anyway, I'll only talk about two people, okay, because you know, they reflect in, I don't know whether whoever has made the video, of course Atanu would know definitely, okay, Atanu understands. Perhaps the only person in the institute who understands, apart from me, it's Atanu. And you must see in the brochure also, there's learn, experience, change. You know, we're talking about learning, experiencing, and change. And there is a spiral. If you can see, there's a spiral. Even on our website, there is that spiral, right? Okay. Now, the inspiration behind that is Paulo Freire, right? I don't know whether some of you have heard of Paulo Freire, not heard of Paulo Freire. He's a Latin American educationist, right? In the 1960s, Paulo Freire wrote a book, The Pedagogy of the Oppressed, right? When Freire talks about essentially colonized societies, which is what India is, how colonized society is, it's not only colonization of resources, but it's colonization of mind, right? And Freire talks about conscientization, right? Conscientization is a process of decolonizing the mind. The latest in the Freire school is Walter Milono. Walter Milono is also a Latin American educationist. I think presently is in Brown University in US, okay, who have done quite a lot of work on decolonizing, right, okay. And Paulo Freire and Walter Milono, everybody say that decolonizing society starts with decolonizing education, right? Because all of you know that English education in India was started by Macaulay, essentially to produce clerks for the British Empire, or the East India Company at the time. So, from an education system that was designed to produce clerks for the British Empire, right, we're now talking about innovation, change, right, what will keep India, right, grow into a developed economy, as our Prime Minister says, by 2047. How do you expect education, which is designed to produce clerks for the East India Company, actually help India innovate, change, right, and make India grow? So naturally, education has to change. And when you say education has to change, it's not just the language and idiom and content. That anyway will change. The paradigm has to change, right? The paradigm has to change from one of learning by rote, learning by concepts, to learning by experiencing. And Freire talks about action, reflection, action. That is, you act, you come back to classroom and reflect, and then based on the reflection, again you learn something, and through that learning again you go back and do an improved action. So it's a spiral of learning. So this action, reflection, action is also called action learning, right? So when we started Centurion School for Rural Enterprise Management, in fact the CSRM Trust, which owns the Centurion University brand, is actually called Centurion School of Rural Enterprise Management. Why? It is not rural management, not IRMA. It is not MBA, enterprise management. So because I was not happy with the IRMA model, which is only cooperative management. I was not happy with the XIS's model, which is more social work, right? So in India, generally in rural sector, there are only two types of beacon programs. One is the IRMA, which is a cooperative management. Actually, it's more a cooperative management than rural management. Then you have TIS, XISS, which is social work. So I felt when I started working in Kalahandi and all, India neither needs social workers now. So we don't want ideology, right? The ideology, the tyranny of ideology we call it, right? The cooperatives, social work, the white man's burden, oh I have to save these guys, right? No. So we said it's enterprise. What we need to promote is enterprise, right? Okay. What is enterprise? Trying to create value out of what exists. Enterprising, right? Okay. So enterprise comes from enterprising, right? So essentially we said we'll focus on anything that creates value, right? Now, value for whom, right? Now, there is a hierarchy of values, right? Value for yourself, right? Yes, I want a job, I want some money. So I need to create value for myself. So I say, yeah, if you have a question, okay, should I be doing it? You ask yourself, okay, if I do it, what value am I creating and for whom? Yeah, you're creating value for yourself, I think you should go and do it. Okay, you're not creating value for yourself, but are you creating value for your own society? Your institution, let's say Centurion University? Go ahead and do it. Creating value for Odisha or Andhra Pradesh? Go ahead and do it. Creating value for India? Go ahead and do it. Creating value for the whole world? Go ahead and do it. So everywhere the focus is on creating value. So our education also, what we are trying to teach you, that learn by doing, learn by production, learn from the world, learn by experience. And for what? Why are you learning? It is learning to change. We are very clear in India that we are learning to change. You have to change. The reality has to change. The society has to change. The country has to change for the better. So the focus is very clear. I'm learning so that through learning I create some value, and that value must change somebody's lives. Right? Something should change in the environment. So we are trying to build change through learning. That's the objective of this whole School of Management. I'm happy that at least after 10 years, the words are there. Okay, whether we understand or don't understand. Since yesterday school also I attended, all our leadership is now using those words. Okay. So Paulo Freire is one of our gurus, Pitamahas, okay, for Centurion, right? Okay. So you can go Google him, download his books, right? They have a, in fact, I summarized the book, book by speaking. You know, Paulo Freire after some time had no time to write. So people said, okay, you speak and we will transcribe that into a book. So there's another guy who's similar to Paulo Freire from US called Michael Horton, Professor Michael Horton. So in fact, that book also you should read. It's called You Make the Road by Walking, right? This book name is You Make the Road by Walking, a Speak the Book series by Paulo Freire and Michael Horton. It's a very similar, see the sentence itself. You make the road by walking. In jungles when you walk, you will see there's a path. Who has made that path? Right? Somebody has walked. It could be animal, it could be human being. So when we made these highways and all that, how did people make it? They actually took those paths which were there and they tried to expand those paths, right? So you make the road by walking. Right? I mean, it's very strange for this generation, right? We walk on a road. We walk on a road which is made by others. Right? I drive on a road which is made by others. So I assume that when I'm coming out of my college, I assume when I'm going to my life, I have a car, I assume there is a road. But what happens if there is no road? In large parts of India, there are no roads. There is that part of India, we call them at one time pejoratively, Bimaru states. Odisha was also part of it. Bimaru, Sikh, or Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, UP, Rajasthan, Odisha. So they were pejoratively, very degradably called Bimaru states. In fact, Parla Committee starts from, it's a gateway to Bimaru. Right? And Hindi, Bimaru also means Sikh. Okay. So in Bimaru states, if this is where you are working, you are located in Bimaru states, you are going to work for Bimaru states, you have to make the road by walking. There may not be any road. So other part, I'm glad this video has said, J.C. Kumarappa Rural Technology Park. Now I don't know, you have heard that word, you are seeing the boards now, JKC, JCK. Have you ever Googled who is this guy? At least natural. He is not my grandfather, okay? Normally in colleges, chairman's grandfathers, somebody from his family's name is put, okay? No, he is nobody's grandfather actually. So, can you take out your mobiles and start Googling who is Dr. J.C. Kumarappa? At least do some homework. Please Google on who is Dr. J.C. Kumarappa. Right. And I would like to give a mic to somebody who can talk about what is written about it in Google. So maybe can you take one of the mics, please? Anybody here? Whatever you see in Google, please can you tell who is Dr. J.C. Kumarappa? And why is he in Parlakamudi Centurion University? I mean, what is the significance? Anybody? Yes?
J.C. Kumarappa was an Indian economist and a close associate of Mahatma Gandhi, a pioneer of rural economic development theories. Kumarappa is credited for developing economic theories based on Gandhism, a school of economic thought. He coined Gandhian economies.
Okay. So Dr. J.C. Kumarappa was a foreign returned economist. He had, I mean, the degrees as anybody would feel proud about, right? But he was a Gandhian economist. So he wrote a book called The Economics of Permanence, right? You know, I mean, in 1974, way after J.C. Kumarappa, Dr. Schumacher wrote Small is Beautiful. Economy as if people mattered. It's a very, very seminal statement he made when he said economy as if people mattered. So J.C. Kumarappa also talks about economics of permanence as opposed to economics of slash and burn, right? So Kumarappa started J.C. Kumarappa Institute in Bombay, near Bombay actually, right? You know, this institute in 1940s it had departments. What were those departments? One department was cow, the department of cow, guy. Another department was of beekeeping. Another department was pottery. So like we have School of Agriculture, School of Veterinary, School of all this, J.C. Kumarappa had these departments. And then he picked people from villages and he trained them to become experts in that particular field. I had been fortunate to work with at least 3 of such alumni of J.C. Kumarappa Institute, right? One was S.K. Mirmira, who started the Bhadravati Gramodaya Sangha in pottery. And mind you, I brought Mirmira to Bagusala in 91. And Appanna, who is now actually working as a potter in the school and here, he is actually from the Mirmira tradition. So that's a connection between J.C. Kumarappa and Appanna. Okay. Similarly, it was called NADEP Composting, National Development Project. NADEP Kaka, it was called. A guy called N.D. Pandari Pandey. N.D. Pandari Pandey was expert on cow. Everything that comes out of cow, he made something. From gobar, he made compost. From urine, he made a soap. Cow urine, he made a soap in way back in 90s. I used to sell that soap. Okay. And incidentally, I brought N.D. Pandari Pandey to Parlakamudi in 1991. Right. Beekeeping also, there's a guy called Amarendra Gadge. Amarendra Gadge developed the first beekeeping technique of taking out bee from rock bees. You know, rock bees are very dangerous. They attack you. But he developed very simple techniques by which you could extract bee from honey from rock bees without upsetting the bees. You know, I didn't know this. In fact, the old man was traveling with me in Kalahandi. If you spray water onto it, seems rock bees can't see when water is there, and when they can't see, they can't move. So he sprays water on the bee hive, takes the bee hive, puts it in a centrifuge, takes up the whole honey, and again puts back the beehive there itself. But these are rock bees, not domestic bees. They're very dangerous, right? They can even kill a person. So he developed that technique and deal it. So Amarendra Gadge was known for beekeeping. So this man was forgotten. Had Nehru not become the Prime Minister, somebody else would have become the Prime Minister, J.C. Kumarappa would have been our Planning Commission Chairman. In fact, Gandhi wanted India to adopt J.C. Kumara's. He came up also with the Indian Economic Plan. The first Indian Economic Plan was developed by Dr. J.C. Kumarappa. It was called the Kumarappa Plan. 1942, when India declared Quit India movement, Tata and Birla realized that India will become independent. They sat in Bombay House and developed what is called as Tata Birla Plan in 1942. Unfortunately, when India became independent, Tata Birla Plan became the national plan and not J.C. Kumarappa Plan. Right? So from 1942, India took a different route. And you know, Gandhi died in 1948. So had Gandhi survived for another 5-6 years, right, he would have made sure that somebody like J.C. Kumarappa would have guided the Indian planning process. So we have brought him back alive in Centurion today. Because I always believe that what Kumarappa is saying is very, very relevant to our underdeveloped regions of the country. Right. So that's why the J.C. Kumarappa Rural Technology Park. But of course, we are not going to use the same technique which Nadab Kaka used or N.D. Pandari Pandey, whatever, those people have used. This is smart. So what we have now, Dr. J.C. Kumarappa is a smart J.C. Kumarappa. He is not the old 50-year, 70-year back Kumarappa. The Rural Technology Park we are going to have in Centurion, which is what we are implementing now, is going to be the smart Rural Technology Park, wherein we will bring in IoT, we will bring in all the new technologies we are talking about, softwares, apps, into rural technology and apply them to rural situations. So the road you are going to make today is going to be a smart road. It's not going to be the same road which 70 years back people made. It will be a different road. So essentially, we are keen, the School of Management in Centurion is not about following the paradigms of other schools. The reason why I'm taking so much of time to explain. The paradigm itself in Centurion is different, right? This is about learning through experiencing and learning to change. There is a purpose for learning. The purpose is not just to get you a job. The purpose is to change the society, right? To produce what they call as change agents, right? That's the purpose of the School of Management here, right? And I do hope this Manzar reflects that, right? So you have to ask yourself today, okay, what am I learning and how is that learning going to change the world? Change Parla Committee. The other day we had the same workshop here. What is that big idea, right, that will change Parla Committee, right? What is that big idea that will transform this particular region? What is that big idea that will transform North Coastal Andhra Pradesh? What is that big idea that will transform Odisha, right? These are the things that you have to discuss. So whatever is written there in that slides, I want you to reflect, own it, and start working on. Of course, it won't happen in one day, because for 20 years we have been taught something. Suddenly to change is not easy. I need to unlearn and relearn, right? And this is what Paulo Freire always talks about, the need to unlearn, right? He says colonized minds cannot be decolonized without unlearning. I have to practice unlearning. Whatever I have learned, how do I wind back? Take it out of me, and then relearn, right? Okay. So these are all pedagogical tools of Paulo Freire, where unlearning is also a pedagogical tool. He teaches how to unlearn. And he says it's very important for, colonized societies that you should unlearn. Okay. So thank you very much. Whenever opportunity comes, I'll keep talking about it, right? And I always felt India should have given enough importance to J.C. Kumarappa. India should have given enough importance to these methodologies, but at least in Centurion we are able to do it. I do hope that you will spend time on this, understand it, reflect on it, and do something that's going to change. So we're very ambitious. I want you to be very ambitious. you are doing nothing less than changing the world. When you say world, the world around you. Change Centurion, change Parlakamudi, change Bhubaneswar, change Srikakulam, change starts at home. Okay. Thank you very much.
I, Saket Raj, on the behalf of everyone, would like to thank you. Sir, we'd surely strive to deliver the very best. Now, the time has come to introduce the most illuminating personality among us, that is none other than Mr. Alagu Balraman. A distinguished personality known for his wealth of experience in technology and industry. As the CEO of Augmented SCM and founding member of Tada Cognitive Solution, he epitomizes innovation and leadership. Mr. Balraman's contribution have significantly impacted sales strategy and digital twin technology. With the history of collaborating with global corporations, redesigning supply chains, and advising esteemed organizations such as World Bank and UNICEF, his expertise is unparalleled. Furthermore, Mr. Balraman actively engages with the Council of Visionary Supply Chain Leaders and serves on the Ethics Committee of Center for Brain Research. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Mr. Balraman. Sir, we eagerly await for your talk.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Everyone still awake? So, first, it's delightful to be here. I enjoy educational institutions because I had a lot of fun when I was in college, and I'm sure you're also enjoying yourself in your studies over here. You're probably going to remember this as some of the happiest days of your life later on. So do whatever you can when you're over here, okay? And make good friends, learn a lot, and then set off into the world. Now, when Dan was talking a little earlier, he said, focus on the world, focus on the change of everything. I'm going to bring it down to something much smaller, and I'm going to start talking about what he said, don't worry about, which is your first job. Because you're all going to go out, and you're all going to go and start working, and every big change happens through a series of steps. So there's this old proverb, right? A journey of 1,000 steps starts with the first one. So you have to start with the first step, and make sure that you do it well. So I wanted to talk a little bit about a lot of, in fact, many things sound similar to what he said. One is, you're going to get a lot of bad advice as you're going forward. You have to learn how do you deal with advice which is not necessarily good. And that can even come from people like me, okay? You also need to know that nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. It's not given. You're going to create it. How do you deal with things you don't know? Okay, and nobody knows this. The third thing is, if all this is so vague, how do I become successful? What do I do to become successful in my work? So that's an area where I think you can get prepared, and it's not too difficult. But as he said, you're going to have to change some of the way in which you function. Oh, little close. Okay, sorry. So, Dan talked about the historical perspective from what happened around independence time, and then what happened, what is it that Centurion is trying to do now to change that. Now you've got to remember that the world was very different at that point. We were a very poor country. The average life expectancy at independence was like, average life expectancy was 27 or less. So the average person did not live beyond 27 years. There was a huge shortage of food. We had regular famines where people would just die of starvation in the millions. You had very, very little money. So it was very difficult to spend. Why is it that it's important to know that, for all of you to know that today when you don't have that problem? It's because a lot of the advice you're going to get from people older is going to be about all that mindset that was created then. So when I was young, things were very, very difficult in our country. Now you can see a big change. When I tell my children, when they were small, now they're older than you, that to buy milk you had to have a card, and the card would say how much milk you're allowed to buy, they couldn't believe it. They said you just go to a shop and buy it. But that was not the case. If you wanted to buy a scooter, you had to wait for 5 years to get the scooter. You had to wait, book it and wait. The India we live in today is very different. And the India that your grandparents and your parents lived in was also quite different from what it is today. Today, what do we have as a country? So, does anybody know which is the largest economy in the world? Which country has the biggest economy? USA, correct. What is our rank? By PPP, we are 5th right now. Okay? By the time many of you are graduating, we would have become 3rd. Right? It will be, we are adding a lot of economy. There's going to be a lot more money that's going to be available, and there will be therefore new businesses, new jobs, new kinds of things that people can spend money on and do things with. Today we don't know what they are going to be. So you have to now adjust to the fact that what people know today is not going to be what's going to happen even when you're graduating. Things are going to change. So at that time, how do you make sure that you are in a position to best become effective in your job? The other thing that's happening is, if you look at our Indian talent, today we have people who are managers and leaders all across the world who've come from India, right? So who do you know who are the most famous CEOs in this world who have come from India? That's right. Okay, you have people in the tech sector, Google, Microsoft, etc. You have people who are economists. You have people all over who have come from India, and now we are more confident that, hey, you know what, we can also think, we can also do things, we are also capable of doing this just as much as anybody else is. This is also a big change that's come. Finally, there's a lot more money. If you look at a lot of the new companies that have come up, compare it to the old companies. So if you take a company like the Tatas, they've been around for 150, 170 years. The Ambanis started mostly in the 60s and 70s, and then they grew up in about 50 years. But now you're getting companies which are starting up and in 10 years, 5 years, growing into very large companies. They're doing that because all of us, as we earn money, are putting more money into capital markets, and that is available for companies to take bigger risks. So you're going to see that there's a lot more opportunity than there was, for example, when I started working. When I started working, people would say, get a good job and just stay quiet, retire from that job. But that's not the world you're going into. You're going into a very different world. It's going to be a very fun world. But it's also a world that is very different. What is it that's going to help you there? Okay? There are some things that don't change, and there are some things which need to change. So let's talk about what are those capabilities you need for your job that will make you successful. Okay? I'm going to talk about 5. 5 things you have to keep in mind. The first one is you have to listen. You have to listen very hard. You have to become good at understanding what is happening. Talk to people, watch what's happening, and think about it. Because what people will tell you in a course or what they will tell you in your job may not be exactly what is needed. So unless you listen, you don't know where they're coming from, what they're saying, and our country has also changed. It's changed very much because we have a lot of diversity now. I come from Bangalore, okay? In the 80s, the population of Bangalore was around 2.83 million people. Looks like a big city. Today it's 14 million people. Okay, because people, not that people in Bangalore had a lot of babies. No, lots of people came into Bangalore because there's a lot of technology, there's a lot of business, everything that's going there, people came there for jobs. So languages have changed, people come from all parts of the country, festivals are changing, practices are changing. So the way in which we used to live when I was in school is not the way you should be behaving now because people are very different. You have to understand what they're saying. If someone says, I need to take time off because there is a function like this at home, maybe for me and my family that was not important. But for that person's family, person may have come from some other state far away, maybe that's very important. So unless we become sensitive to all this, it becomes very difficult to work together. And we have to learn to work together. The second thing that you have to do is, once you've listened and you've absorbed what's happening, you have to learn to think critically and independently about it. Form your own ideas. Don't look for ready-made solutions that people will tell you about. Why? Well, one, I told you that things have changed from just 10 years ago and 20 years ago. So what people thought 10 years and 20 years ago is not going to help you today if the situation is different. Second, you're saying there are very different people altogether. They're not from just one state or two states. Okay, when I grew up, most of the people were from the south in Bangalore. In fact, people in Bangalore itself, there would be some people who would speak one language in one part and a different language in another part, and been like that for 200 years. But now there is a lot of mixture. So you have to start, you can't take any one person's idea, you have to think for yourself. You have to decide what is it you're trying to achieve, what have you learned from listening, and then come up with your own ideas. Okay, so independent thinking is important. And I like the fact that your framework also talks about all that. You know, the whole experience, test it out, see what it is, and then you grow in this. Now this is not easy. It's always easy to say, you tell me what to do and I will do that. That's the easy way to go through things. You tell me what's the method to solve this problem and I will solve the problem. Okay? You tell me how do I get from A to B, put it on a map and show me and I will get from A to B. But what happens when there's no map? What happens when you're making the road by walking? There's no map. You have to figure it out for yourself. So for that you need confidence. Okay? Most of the time, I've worked in many different countries in the world with different clients. And we would always say that it's very common that the person who's from India knows more and knows how to solve the problem. But the person who's come from the US or UK is far more confident of what's to be done, and so everybody listens to them. We have to become more confident. We must believe in ourselves and become more confident in this. And this is, I'm talking all of this in your first job. Okay? You need to listen hard to what your boss, what your peers, what the company is saying. What am I supposed to get done? You have to think for yourself independently on how do I get it done. I can go look up methods, I can do all that, but I have to think for myself. And then I must have the confidence to go and try it out. Will you fail? Of course you'll fail. Everybody fails. When you started riding a bicycle, you didn't get onto the bicycle and straight away start doing whatever you wanted to do. You'd fall, you'd get up, you try again, and then you'll become better and better at it. Let's go to the fourth item. The fourth thing is, because there is so much change happening, okay, even from now to when you graduate, there's going to be a lot of change. You have to always assume that what you learned is out of date. And what you need to do your work and to become successful, you have to learn it afresh. So learning does not stop when you finish your college. Learning does not stop because you've done some course or you got one certificate. That's not enough. You'd have to constantly learn. So it was a few years back well, I'll come back to that. Yeah. A few years back, I was giving a talk in IIM Bangalore, and we were talking about how to do change in large organizations. We finished the talk, and then after that, the student said, can we talk about careers and career planning? So I told them that career planning is not something I believe in. Okay? It's okay if everything is very stable and it stays the same. I can say, in 5 years I want to be this, in 10 years I want to be this. But if everything is changing, then I don't know what is possible 5 years from now or 10 years from now. So I should not decide now. I should say every time I'm looking around and seeing what's happening, I then decide what we should be doing as the next step. Don't plan too far in advance. So they said, there was a bit of an argument. They said, no, but shouldn't, everyone says you should plan your career. So I said, take a look at our country. If you look at our country and you look at maybe 50% of the types of jobs that were there today did not exist 15, 20 years ago. Okay, because by then, you have different sectors that have opened up, insurance, BPOs, technology, AI, all this has started up, which was not there 15 years ago. So 15 years ago, if I had said, this is what I want to be, I will miss all these new things that are coming. And those new things are where all the action is. So I would lock myself into something which is outdated because I did a career plan. So be flexible. Be flexible. Look for what is happening. Do the same independent thinking about your career and say, what am I going to do? What am I going to focus on? So the 5 things you need to look at: listen, observe, independently think, have your confidence, okay? Then go on for, ensure you constantly learn and be ready for change. Don't worry about it. Keep accepting the change and going on. Okay, now suppose you finish your course and you go to your first job. What is it that you think your boss is going to be looking for? How do you become successful? So these were nice concepts, but specifically, what does your boss want you to do? The most important thing in the beginning is they want you to be reliable. They want to be able to trust you to get the job done. You should take on a task, you should finish it. If you say you'll do it at a particular time, get it done at that time. And if you think that all the details are done, completely wrap it up and give it back. Then your boss will say, you know what, I can depend on this person to get the job done on that. I used to have this problem on one of the counts, which was timeliness. I would never finish it on time. So my first boss would open up, give me a job. He'd open a diary in front of me and write in it saying, review with him on this date. And that date, he would call me, open to the same page and say, have you done this? And I'll say no. So after 2-3 times, I realized that, oh, this is getting into trouble. You have to do something to make sure you're on time. The other thing is, you have to be able to build, understand what your boss requires and get that done. Because they may not say everything that isn't asked. So ask questions, find out what it is, and get it done over there. Finally, there is a problem called relationship. You have to have a good relationship with your boss, but you also have to have relationship with your peers. Who are the other people who are there? So when, again, the same first boss of mine, I used to, like most people who've joined their first job, I used to work very hard. So one day he came and said, you're working too hard. I said, is that what a boss is supposed to say, that you're working too hard? I didn't understand what you want. He said, no, stop, go have chai with somebody, go talk to them. Don't be always focused on the work. I didn't understand why he's telling me to do that. It seemed illogical. But then I did it. I'd go there, I'd meet different people, sit down, chat with them, find out about their job, what they're doing, etc. That's how we both understood what each of us is doing and how we can help each other to do better work. So without building that relationship, it's very hard to do work just by following the rules. You need relationships with people, you need to be able to talk to them, you need to be able to get things done through them. So if you follow some of these criteria in your first job, simple rules, be done on time, complete it and do a complete job, manage your boss, become good relations with your peers, chances are you're going to become very successful in your first job, irrespective of where it is in that. I wanted to conclude with a few points. Okay? You're all doing different courses here. I understand there are people from different subjects and different disciplines. But the most important thing that you have to learn when you are in this university is that you have the capability to learn new things when you need it. Because you've learned a lot of new things here, you should be able to read and learn things on your own. So when Dan was saying, go read this book, go read that book, okay? He's not saying you're going to sit in class and have a test on it, read it for the test. He's saying develop the ability to learn. That is very important because it's essential. If the world is going to change, what you know today, after 5 years or 10 years, it's going to be outdated. So you have to keep learning and learning again and again. The second thing is the word I talked about earlier, confidence. Develop the confidence. I was delighted to see the confidence with which people are organizing this event, how they conduct the event. And 2 days back when I was in the school, the children in the school were handling things with such confidence. It was really, really nice to see that. It's very different from when we were kids. And I'm delighted that everybody is so much more confident. Approach your job with the same confidence. Approach the job with the same level of, your work and how you work there with the same level of confidence that you have over here. And there. Finally, build a good reputation. The most valuable asset that you can build in your career is your reputation. People must be able to trust you. People must be able to say that, okay, this person, if they know something, they will share it with me and they will help me. If they don't know something, they will tell me openly they don't know. And they will be the kind of people who will give. So a lot of people think that in corporate life, and every time Dan says word corporate, I can hear him putting quote marks around the corporate. But actually in the corporate world, it's extremely important to build relations. If you have people trust you, you can get a lot more done in that. It's no different from anything else in our society. So build a solid reputation and build on it year by year by year. And it will be very, very helpful for you going forward in that. So with that, I would like to thank you all for this opportunity. It was very nice to be here, and I wish you all success in your careers.
हाँ हाँ ओके मैं वीडियो जब बोलूँ तब अभी रुक जाओ अभी वीडियो में चलाना थैंक यू हेलो थैंक यू सर दैट वाज अ वंडरफुल एंड लर्निंग फ्रॉम योर सेशन that is always going to be helpful in our professional sphere and undoubtedly make us skillful individuals. As a token of appreciation, I'd like to request Dr. Anita Patra to do the honor of presenting memento to the Mr. Balraman. Before the closure of our inaugural ceremony, I'd like Dr. Anita Patra to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good morning all. Yeah, dear students, my colleagues of the dais, Babu sir of the dais, and guests on the dais, Mr. A. Balraman, Professor D.N. Rao, Dr. Pragya Pani, Dr. Durga Padi. A warm greetings to you all for today. So we have almost come to the end of the inaugural session, and it is about MANZAR 2.0. We had the video and Dr. Pragya speaking on why MANZAR is so important, the Management Student Fest, why it is so important, why we want to do it. And we are all happy to hear from Professor D.N. Rao. He has elaborately explained what is the J.C. Kumarappa concepts, and that our university is trying to adopt the practices of his concepts through Rural Technology Park, which is going to be a smart rural technology park. So we all should be a part of this when it is happening. We are in the era when this is happening in this university. So let students, faculty, staff all be a part of this happening. We had just now Mr. A. Balraman speaking to us. What he has said is, for students like us who are just graduating out, we don't know how to deal with things when we are out in the market for the job, how to be successful and all, because things are changing. Things that he has said is listen, observe, think independently, be confident, constantly learn, keep learning, be ready to change, and build the most important asset of your life, reputation. Thank you, sir, for all the talks, valuable talks that you have done. I am sure that our students will keep all this in mind. Now I would like to say my bit here, saying that you students of this university that we are here to participate and in this hall, we all should know that we are in a university where it is multi-sectoral. So we are very fortunate and we can learn a lot of things in an interdisciplinary manner. Team which is interdisciplinary, that's what happens in the world outside. So this MANZAR 2.0 and this university is all for you. This is a platform, this is an opportunity for you to learn, do and learn. You can sharpen your skills of management, the managerial skills required, organizing skills, communication skills, decision-making skills, critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills. Participation is very important. Participation and learning is further important. As we say that you have to all participate in a team, learn how to do teamwork, how to organize these events like our organizing team is doing. This is where we get this opportunity. So thanks to the whole team of MANZAR 2.0 for having this. School of Management, students, faculty, and their leader, Dr. Sushant Patnaik, for this event. We are also happy to have our deans, associate deans here from other schools and all the student participants. We know the School of Management population is small, but the hall is full because we have students from all other schools. Thank you for being a part of this. I thank Babu Shankar sir so that he has been very much a support in organizing this event. Yes, we have Durga sir with his whole admin team, MRC and others to support us here. Thank you, sir. And we know that there is a sponsorship required for everything that we do. Vishwa Samudra has helped, thanks to Pratap, who has been instrumental in getting it. So, and at the end, I will say to all my students here, prepare for the future. Prepare for the future, and as our tagline now says, learn, experience, and change. Thank you all.
Thank you, madam. Last but not the least, we would like to thank you, our sponsors for the MANZAR 2.0. Now let's have a look at the video.
Is an essential, a way of life, where every day, every hour, every minute matters, because we understand that time is money, and businesses around the world are depending on us to deliver on our promises. That's why we are always on the go, and keep completing projects in record time, no matter how large or challenging, because speed is in our DNA. Our processes are efficient. Our operations are built on precision. Our engines are revved up. People are always on the go. We challenge every bend, push every benchmark. Because we know that the world needs solutions. Faster answers to the environment crisis. Faster transportation, faster development. This race isn't just about outdoing others, it's about outdoing ourselves. The world is our racetrack, and we are winning. Vishwa Samudra, challenge it, change it.
So our partners are Vishwa Samudra Engineering, Dolphin Hotel, Deluxe Guest House, and Abhiruchi Hotels and Restaurants. Now let's begin the very first event of MANZAR 2.0, which is Vision Quest. So are you all excited?